Todd Wyss,
Welcome.
Executive Vice President of Life Annuities for Heartland National. How you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah. I'm really excited about today's podcast. So I'm going to I'm going to take the mic here for just a second. Heartland National is just now releasing a new equity indexed annuity that I think is potentially the most sellable equity indexed annuity that I've seen maybe in my career, definitely in the last 10 or 12 years. And what's probably even more important than that is it's an equity indexed annuity that I think might have higher earning potential than any other equity indexed annuity that I've seen out there in the market. So let me set this up, and then Todd, I'll give you the mic, and we can really kind of explain what this product is and how it works. But I did a little bit of research this morning, and I used Perplexity, and I asked what was the average S&P 500 returns over the last decade. And the S&P 500 has averaged about 12.5% over the last 10 years. Now, then I asked the question, if you took out the top 100 companies or the NASDAQ 100, if you took those companies out of the S&P 500, what would the average return be the last 10 years? And it was just over 5%.
Wow.
The NASDAQ 100 average is just under 20%. Now, I'll tell you why I say all this, I'll tell the audience why I'm going through all these stats and statistics. It's because Heartland National just released an equity indexed annuity, an FIA product, that actually has a participating product in the NASDAQ 100. So nobody has a crystal ball on what's going to happen in the stock market over the next few years, but I think most people would say that if the stock market is going to do well, it's going to be because of the tech sector. You guys now have, I don't know if it's the first one ever, it's the first one I know of that you can have an industry that's really tied to the NASDAQ 100. And the earning potential for people's clients are going to be astronomical to those that are tied to just to the S&P 500 or even worse, one of the $2 million made up indices that insurance companies offer. You got to be pretty excited about all this, I'm guessing.
No, I love it. I personally invested in tech stocks, and that's why I pushed really hard to get the NASDAQ 100 total return as an option for our clients.
So let's go over this. Let's kind of just break down this product for everybody, and then I'm sure that'll stimulate a lot of conversation from that. Do you want to go over some of the highlights, and then, or do you want me to do that?
No, I can do that. I think the biggest thing right now, just like you've been talking about, is we have the NASDAQ 100. We're going to do a cap of 10, but we're also going to do a 50% participation rate. That means unlimited potential. NASDAQ did 56% a couple years ago. Your client would have got a 23% return locked in. That is amazing. Just a 50% participation rate on NASDAQ, just that alone, I think, is going to be the number one selling point for this product.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the earning potential is just silly. If you just took the average, I think that you'd be double digits with the 50% par on the NASDAQ over the last decade.
Yeah.
So you got a couple tiers to this. So the name of the annuity is Secure Retirement.
Secure Retirement. I mean, we're looking for retirement accounts. You can also put non-qualified money in there, but the average American's got about $275 in their, or $275,000 in their retirement account when they turn 65. That's what you're looking for. That's what we're hoping to roll over and protect.
Yeah. So you've got what they call kind of three different levels in which somebody could come in. You've got what they call, let's see if I say it. So you've got the growth, which is no bonus. 50% of the NASDAQ 100 would be one of the allocation options. You've got what they call the boost, which is a 12% bonus. That's 40% of the NASDAQ. And then you've got what they call the max, which is a 25% bonus, 30% on the NASDAQ. But even at 30% on the NASDAQ, you're still looking 6 to 7% average over the last 10 years.
Exactly. And there are no fees with that. So the 25% bonus is probably the second biggest thing about this product besides NASDAQ. And that's a premium bonus. This is not an income product. It's not lifetime income. It is accumulation product with the true 25% premium bonus day one. And then you can index that, still get 30% of NASDAQ. So I think NASDAQ and that bonus together are going to be killer.
So I explain to me one of the other allocation options that you got is the high watermark allocation option. Tell me where that applies.
So we have the raw S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. Then we also did a vol control called the Market Agility 10, which is the S&P 500 vol control. Then I did a NASDAQ vol control. So both of our vol control strategies will have a high watermark, because I don't know if you pay attention to stocks every day like I do, but they're up one day, down the next, up one day, down the next. Tariffs kick in or potential World War III happens. Like the stock market has been doing like this for the last year, it seems like. So things aren't moving in a straight up line like we want to. So I'm doing a high watermark. So that means instead of starting value, ending value, that's a true PR mark. We're going to measure it 12 times throughout the year. So on your client's anniversary. So if they buy the policy on Wednesday, the following month on a Wednesday, we're going to measure your policy and then measure it the next month, the next month, the next month. And whatever the highest mark we measure, we're going to give them that credit. So even if the market was up 15% or the index was up 15%, then it tanks. Well, they're locked into that 15%, and then we'll give them a participation rate of that. So it's almost like a never zero strategy. You get a little bit less if we measure it 12 times, but you have more chances. Kind of like a baseball player. If you've got one at bat to hit a home run, you might strike out. But I give you 12 chances, you might hit a couple singles, a couple doubles. It's got more chances, so more probability of a credit to your client.
Yeah, so it's a monthly averaging with a high watermark is really what
it's not an average. We just measure it every month, and you get the highest measurement.
Oh, really? So it's the highest point inside that given month.
Exactly.
And then you get the high, and then whatever the high watermark for all those 12 months, that's what your return is.
Exactly. Now, we only measure once a month, so we might miss the peak. If it dips before we measure it, we only get the measurement we do, but the highest measurement we have, the highest out of the 12, is what the client gets.
I got you. That's sexy. I like that. I still really like just this, especially if you've got somebody that has qualified money like in an IRA, something you don't have to overcome a surrender charge. You don't need all that big bonus, and you can put them into the growth factor and get 50% of the NASDAQ. To me, that's really where the sweet spot is being able to capture 50% of the NASDAQ. I just think that's, first of all, unheard of. But the earning potential, I think you're going to really have a lot of happy clients if you can get it into something like that.
Exactly. Now, a lot of people might be asking, oh, well, you're going to give them 50% this year, but you're going to drop that PR rate later. Well, we don't know. We're going to be level option pricing too. So that's the goal of this product, is to give you the same fixed rate every single year for all 10 years. So we don't know what it's going to buy us, but we're really hoping that it stays consistent. So if our fixed rate right now is 4.5, we're going to spend 4.5 every single year buying the NASDAQ or buying a cap or buying the high watermark. We don't know what it's going to buy, but we're really hoping that consistency will turn into good returns for your client.
Okay, so that leads me into a question. I hope I'm not going to stick you in a tough spot here, but I've been in the business for 20 years. I've sold a lot of annuities myself. Our industry is kind of become notorious for a really cool annuity comes out with big numbers on it. Everybody gets souped up, goes and sells a whole bunch of it. And then a year or two now, when allocation time comes up, it's a big letdown. Clients are not happy, about what their participations or caps are compared to what it was when they entered into the annuity. First of all, let me ask you this. Why does that happen?
It can happen because of two reasons. One, they're not level option pricing budget. They blend their bonds. So they might use today's bonds, but then next year bonds lower. They blend this year's bonds, next year's bonds, the years after that, the years before that. They blend them all together. So when your bonds are, the bonds we buy for your client are your client's bonds. So they buy today at a high bond rate, they're getting high bonds for all 10 years. But companies also front load their contract too. Let's say their fixed rate's 4, for easy example, 4. They might spend 5 or 6 at the beginning of the contract and then lower that over time. So towards the end of their contract, they're spending 1 or 2. They're not spending the 4 that they're supposed to have. So they might average 4 across all 10 years, but they might front load it. We're going to try to be more consistent. I think of it kind of like a sprint or a marathon. Some companies might come at a marathon sprinting, And then at the end of the marathon, they're on their knees puking on the sidelines because they ran out of gas. We would rather jog the whole time and just do the same consistent fixed account all 10 years. And we're hoping it buys about the same. If you went to buy gas every week for a month, every day, you're going to find different gas prices. Why? I don't know. Just the same thing for the SP 500. It might cost more some days, less some days, more some years, less some years. So we're hoping it buys about the same, but just the economy in general, it will fluctuate a little bit, but we're hoping it stays pretty consistent over the 10 years.
So I kind of knew the answer to that question, but I wanted to tee you up to answer that, because I think that I surely can't be the only annuity producer out there that has had this experience. And that answer of front loading almost always equates to it's never going to be better than it was on the day you bought it. And I think that when you've got annuities that are built on level pricing, yeah, don't get me wrong, there's no guarantees, what happens in our world, but the chances of that product, in my opinion, when you're coming to allocation times in year 2 and year 4, year 6, and your client being happy and not surprised, is so much better. So that was the second reason of why I'm so excited about this product. You've also got on here that I want to make sure we mention too. You've also got on here, not that I've never seen this, but I haven't seen it very often. You've got some free accelerated with access points, like a critical illness rider and those type of things. Do you want to go through those real quickly for the audience?
Yeah, I'll hit the biggest one first. Is we are a health company. We've been a health company for 20 some years, and we got into multi-year guaranteed annuities about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And that allowed us to build this fixed indexed annuity. But we have standalone cancer plans, home health care, Medicare supplements. So that was our bread and butter. So when we're looking at this product, we're like, what can we do that's kind of tied to health? So we actually have a 25% out free withdrawal, including the bonus. So if your bonus is part of this, 25% out for critical illness like cancer, heart attack, stroke, end-stage renal disease. Like a third of the population is going to have cancer or heart attack, maybe more, 50%. So that just gives you 25% out if one of those major things happen. So people sometimes don't buy annuities because they're like, oh, well, I need access to my money. Great. 25% for cancer, heart attack, or stroke.
Now, is that a one-time scenario when it happens, or is that annually?
That will be a one-time payment for.
Okay. And then go ahead. You got the other ones that are kind of typical, but you have a.
Yep, got it pulled up here so I don't make a mistake here. So terminal illness is 100% out. So all of these are after one policy year. So it's got to be enforced 1 year. Terminal illness, you can cash out 100%. Nursing home, 50%. Then we do the critical illness at 25%. And then home health care is unique. It's 25% per year for 5 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. That's really cool. Okay.
And all those include the bonus. So you put $100,000 in, you get $125. If you use that max bonus, you can access 50% of your bonus for nursing home, or 25% for home health care. So your bonus is included in all those. No MVA, no surrender charges. It just counts as cash.
So how does somebody qualify for the home health care 25% access?
So in the home health care, I'm pulling up right here, it's just 2 of 6 ADLs. If you can't do 2 of 6 ADLs, it'll have to be like prescribed by a doctor. They'll have to verify that your doctor said you need home health care, can't do 2 of 6, then boom, you can get 25% out.
Okay. What was the long-term care option?
So the long-term, that's a home health care. If I said long-term care, I apologize. It's the home health care.
Okay. So
it's 25%.
If they went to a facility, it's the same as if they're at home?
Nursing home is 50% out if they're in the nursing home for 90 days.
Okay.
So 90 days in there for a physician. Then home health care is you can't do 2 of 6 ADLs. You can get 25% per year.
Okay. So the nursing home, they have to be in a facility, and I assume obviously they can't do 2 of the 6 ADLs. The home health care, obviously they don't have to be in a facility, but they still have to just show that they can't do 2 of the 6 ADLs.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you a little broader question. When I first got into the business, and I don't even know if this is true, when I first got into the business 20 years ago, my boss explained annuities to me like this, that annuities are all built with the same amount of nuts and bolts. Sometimes they're better for the client, sometimes they're better for the agent, sometimes they're better for the insurance company. But they all are kind of built on the same chassis. That's why, so for example, if you see a product, a lot of times you see a product, the BCA used to be a really great product I sold 10 or 15 years ago. And it was a really good product for the client from a return standpoint, but the compensation was lower than most. And I could make examples like that back and forth all day long of different products. Your product seemingly it's got the best opportunity for growth from a client. It's got one of the highest compensations that there is. I'm trying to figure out, how do you guys make a product that's got all the bells and whistles where nobody else can? So, I'll make it a little bit easier for you here. I can see on here there's two things. You guys have only got a 5% free withdrawal.
And that's nothing year one. So one thing we took out is 0 year one. No RMDs, nothing year one. That's one of the trade-offs.
Yeah. And then it's got no income options on it. So by not having those two options on there, is that what allows for such high participations, high compensation, and all of the other positives that this annuity has? Is that how it's built?
For the most part, we just try to cut out all the fluff and only give you what's necessary, what's there. We don't have a lot of guarantees in the product. Like, we don't guarantee anything really. We went down to state guarantee minimums because we know we're going to do level option pricing. If we know we're going to price it the same, why do I need to put guarantees in there? Because I know I'm going to spend that 4.25, 4.5, whatever the fixed rate is at the time, all 10 years the product. So we put less guarantees in, because the more guarantees you put in there, the more money you got to back, or the less dollars you got to spend, or nuts and bolts in your scenario. So we just try to strip it down as streamlined as possible, cut out the fluff, pay the agent a good commission, give the client a high cap, and level option pricing is the goal there. And the trade-off is it's 5% free, nothing year one, 5% free, but we did let you cumulative that up to 25%. So you don't touch it, you can take out 25% year 6. So little things like that, we cut things here, cut things there, and that just ended up being the product we built here. And I think we kept all the good features.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not for everyone, as no annuity is, but it's a great analogy. It's like buying a new car. You guys took out the leather seats and the sunroof, the CD player, all of that, and just made a rocket ship growth product for people, in my opinion, that are really want to not have to worry about waking up with less than they went to bed with, but have the highest earning potential, and take care of the agent at the same time. I'll give you a little bit of a compliment, Todd. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've only promoted 2 products in 6 years.
Wow.
So that should say something to everybody watching this that hasn't went through and watched every video or every podcast I've ever put out. But I'm really high on this product.
And one thing you don't know, and maybe you know this, but agency services is here in Kansas City. I got the chief stuff on. I got George Brett behind me. We're out of Kansas City here, and we used to have 5 girls outside my office that I would do daily trainings with about our product and everything else. We got so big, we had to get them on the 5th floor. So we still do weekly meetings, and you call us up, you talk to a human being. You don't go off to India or anything like that. No robot. No put on hold and push one to get called back. Hi, how you doing? And if we ever have a hold time, we hire a new person to answer the phones. So that separates too. So we know we might not always be the highest caps or the highest PR, but I can always give you the best service. That I can control. So that's one thing that sets us apart too. I'll give everybody my cell phone. Everybody here will have a marketer. If you get contracted, you can call them their cell phones. You can call us. You can text us. We want you to make money. Like I said, I'm an insurance agent, and I've got products for my parents with other carriers, and it takes forever to get a hold of somebody and fix something. So we want to make sure that at least things we can control, we will control, like customer service, agent services here.
Yeah, no, I love that, because anymore you're lucky it's a fight just to get to a live voice. So I normally do, when I do my podcast, and I've got people who are on the sales side of things, I have a question that I normally start out with, and I'll ask them, what do you know now that you wish you knew back when you got into the business? I'm going to tweak that question a little bit for you, because I don't know that anybody's ever really listened to somebody who's built a product before. what do you know now that you wish you knew a couple years ago, or whenever you started this process of developing this equity index annuity?
That's a good question. I mean, me personally, I wish I would have sold annuities back in 2004 when I started. It took me 15 years in the industry before I sold an annuity. I wish I would have done that from the beginning. Um, just learning all the back end stuff was new to me, like option buying and hedging and all that stuff. Like all the back end things that we do are, there's just a ton of things going on that the agents don't even care about or even want to know about. But learning all that was just a process for me. I wouldn't say that it's helped me. If I knew what I know now, I don't know if it would help us build anything better. But it was cool just learning all the ins and outs of how annuities work. And one thing I found that I didn't realize, but we are going to buy options daily. So if your client buys a policy today, we'll buy the SP 500 tomorrow or the NASDAQ tomorrow. A lot of companies save up till they get a big pile of cash. Then they go buy the options for everybody all at once to get a better discount. So we actually leverage that into buy options daily. So that's something unique about us too.
Yeah, and I'll echo you too what you said. I mean, we're 20 minutes into this podcast, and I'm going to guess that the majority of the people that are still hanging on and listening are annuity producers. Um, Even though that 80+% of all the life and health insurance agents in the United States are selling something other than annuities. If you are still listening though, and you're selling Medicare or final expense or whatever your product is that you're selling, there's going to be a day. And if you're in the Medicare world, you're probably feeling the heat right now of how dicey that entire industry is, that you're going to start feeling the heat real soon that you got to get diversified in your product lines. And there, in my opinion, has never been a better time to sell equity index annuities than right now in 2025. And I say that for really one big reason. The markets went up for about straight up for the last 15 years. Meanwhile, every senior out there that's got the IRA or 401k or retirement money, they know that. They know that, okay, it's been going straight up for 15 years. I'm a little bit worried on where things are headed. And at some point, there's going to have to be a correction, a crash, or a change. When we have products out there that offer them high percentage of the upside, but none of the downside, it's almost as easy as walking into somebody's house and saying, "Hey, I can save you $800 in your med sup and give you the exact same coverage." So anyway, just to kind of double up on what you just said for any listeners that we've got that are not really in this market yet, but they're still listening.
Well, and if just to piggyback on that, if you're a Medicare agent, that's where I came from. I did Medicare supplements, hospital indemnity plans for years. All you have to do is ask your clients, do you have an old 401k? You're already in the home. They're already building trust. You're building trust with them. They already like you. Just ask, do you have a retirement account? That's the easiest transition. Ask your upline. They'll help you run illustrations, but that's the transition right there. You ask them, what'd you do for a living while you're warming up to them? And then you go, did you participate in your 401k? You sell your Medicare. At the end of it, you wrap it up. You're like, oh, by the way, another thing I do is protect and preserve that retirement account. It's that easy.
And if they actually listen to what I've been spewing for 5 or 6 years, they're actually doing a full fact finder before they even get to presenting the Medicare or whatever product they're there for. So another question I've been asking everybody recently, because it's such a hot topic that I get asked all the time, but you're in a unique position, you're CEO of an insurance company. Where do you see our industry going here in the next 2 to 5 years as it pertains to AI? Like, what do you think AI is going to do to our business here in the next few years?
I mean, it's tough to say. Like, I think there's always going to be insurance agents, in what capacity, I don't know. I think some things like maybe Medicare or maybe even a MIGA sale could be automated that you don't really need an agent for. But I think an agent's always going to have to be there for the fixed indexed annuity because you're dealing with 100,000, 500,000, $1,000,000. People like to sit down face to face or eye to eye. Hey, they at least want to see you on Zoom. They want to know you're a person. They like to shake your hand. They like to find out where you grew up sometimes if they're going to let you protect $500,000. So I see AI helping. I see AI making the process smoother, but I don't see it ever stopping agents in the fixed index annuity space. At least that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't know about ever, but I definitely agree with the generation right now that is retired or getting real close to retirement. I definitely think they've grown up with that personal trust, that personal touch, that person that they can lean on, as opposed to just trying to do it all on their own through computers and online. So I definitely think that those of us that are out there making a living on it right now, we got a time limit.
And I think seniors are turning 65, like 10, 12,000 a day for the next like 10 years still. So that's a long runway. That's enough for most of us to work 10 years and retire. So if you're new, sell for 10 years and call it quits. There's enough money for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Todd, I really appreciate you coming on with me today. I'll just say this one last time. I've only promoted 2 products in 6 years. I think that for those people out there that are in the equity indexed annuity, fixed income, or fixed annuity world, most likely you do not have a Heartland National contract right now. I'm not saying nobody does, but you're not as big of a company, big as a name as some of the big players like Athene and Equitrust, Allianz, those players yet. But I think you're about to be in real short fashion. And I think that if you're a producer out there and you don't have this tool in your tool bag, I think you're going to be making a mistake. Obviously, you can reach out to me if you're listening to this. You don't have that contract. Thanks to Todd, I think I've got the highest level access that there is from a compensation standpoint. I can definitely hook you up. But this was not a recruiting video. I just wanted you guys to know this product was out there. And feel free to, comment on the notes here if you've got questions that Todd and I didn't cover. But I appreciate you coming with me, Todd. I know that it's a busy time for you guys as you're doing this release right now. You are probably all over the world right now, pimping and getting the word out about this product. I think you guys are about to have a really magnificent run.
It's going to be fun. So I'm glad I got here at the beginning. I'm glad you're here at the beginning. It's going to be fun to ride this wave together.
Well, maybe we can have you back here in a few months, and we can, after we've seen what happened over the first 6 to 12 months, and we can talk about some history too.
Perfect. Hey, be happy to come back, sir.
All right, Todd. Thanks for being with me.
Awesome. Thanks.